Chicago, all right? Mayor Brandon Johnson is advocating for work permits for migrants, for undocumented workers. Jay Jones, what you waiting on? Get into the chasers. You're not a part of the Patreon. The link is in the description. Don't be watching me every day talking about I'm thinking about it. Well, don't think about it. Go and get it. Go and get it. Rita got a whole lot of hats. TGG. She got a whole lot of hats. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is Mayor Johnson's update on his ass from Biden, considering that Biden is about to be showing up in Chicago for a fundraiser.
The mayor is pushing the Biden administration to extend work permits to undocumented workers. Mayor Johnson held a roundtable discussion earlier today at the Chicago Urban League. He says the move would help address labor shortages and improve working conditions for all workers. He also mentioned the city will never turn their back on those migrants in need.
I want to make this emphatically clear. Chicago will never turn its back on people who wish to call the city of Chicago their home. We will always be a welcoming city.
Illinois workers contribute more than $1 billion in taxes and is home to more than 480,000 long-term undocumented residents.
480,000 long-term undocumented residents. Are you meaning to say illegal migrants? Don't talk to me about all of this word salad, these undocumented residents. Anything above 3 syllables, I'm not really talking about it. Anything above 3 syllables, we don't even have to undocumented. 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 Anything above 3 syllables, I don't want to hear about it. You talking about illegal? That's only 3. Illegal migrants. Oh, let's be emphatically clear. I want to make this emphatically clear. Crystal emphatically. Chicago will never turn its back on people that are in need, regardless as if you have documentation or not. All right. Well, give us a little bit more, Brandon Johnson. Help us understand why you refuse to turn your back on people that's here illegally.
First here at 4:30, Mayor Brandon Johnson wants President Biden to issue more work permits for migrants.
Nearly 10,000.
Somebody said he's not going to be mayor much longer. I live in Chicago. Oh, yes, he is. He just got elected. Do y'all know that Brandon Johnson hasn't even been in office for 1 year? He has not even been in office for 1 whole year. Y'all got at least 3.5 minimum. And I have a strong sense that y'all going to have a short memory and y'all going to re-vote him back in office right after that. Because he ain't doing nothing no different than he said that he was going to do in the first place. Now y'all just getting confused about it because you didn't listen to the entire message when you elected him. Y'all got at least 3.5 more years of him. Minimum. So don't y'all sit here talking about, oh, Mayor Brandon Johnson is not going to be reelected. He don't need to be. He got 3.5 more years of reign on your head. Man, who is this chocolate sister? I turn around. I'm over here correcting y'all, telling y'all what's going on. And then I look over here and I see this chocolate sister, this tall drink of chocolate milk on my screen. Got her cleavage, got the microphone in her cleavage. Listen, don't y'all sit here and tell me not to admire these beautiful women. Anton is married. He always got some chicks that he talking about. Listen, I am in awe and admiration. You know, listen, we talk about these chicks in Miami. It's a couple of these newscasters over in New York, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to be absolutely, positively honest with y'all. Honestly, this is the honest to God truth. I got a thing for the chocolate. I got a thing for chocolate. I'm not going to even lie to you. I got a thing for chocolate. There is nothing like darkness. There is nothing like darkness. Honestly, that is my thing. The chocolate, I like that chocolate. I like dark fruit. I like dark fruit. I love blueberries, blackberries. See, that's why God made me get married early. He said, you go ahead and get married early. You're a mess over there, Anton. We got to preserve you so that we can get you over there to talk on the Millionaire Morning Show. You don't even know that it's going to be a Millionaire Morning Show. Go ahead and get married early. I love that chocolate. I ain't going to lie to you. When you pull up next to that bumper, when you get in bed at night and you pull up next to that bumper and that woman is all soft and chocolatey and oily because they just got all of their minerals and oils on them and stuff like that, and the breath be smelling good. I said, oh my God, God bless you. Oh my God, what is going on in my life? God bless. God bless. You got that right. I'm married. I ain't blind. I'm married. I ain't blind. Everybody, all y'all boyfriends and y'all husbands keep doing like this. I be like this.
People are now living in Chicago shelters, and more than 38,000 have come to the city since the buses started arriving from the southern border. But as Christian Farr explains, the undocumented people who've been here even longer say they need help too.
But you know what? No, before I get over to Mary Johnson, let me see something. Yeah, she probably a little older. She probably a little older. You know how you can tell whether a woman is older? It's three ways. It's three ways. It's not always by optics, just the stuff that's on the surface. You got to look for the details. Now, a couple of ways I've already told y'all. Elbows, knees. Elbows, knees. She got knees like an elephant. She got knees like an elephant. Yeah, she got a little seasoning on that. A little seasoning on that salmon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she's still I still like her. I still like her. She got a little seasoning. But it's also the neck. It's also the neck. Elbows, knees, and the neck. All right? I don't think they make Botox for your neck yet. Yeah. You can always look at the neck. No matter what. Look at her elbows, her knees, and her neck. If the neck is a little bit more elastic than usual, that's a sign. She a little seasoned. She take care of herself, but she got some seasoning on her. You can't have that neck, though. Can't have that neck, though. Yep, I looked at the neck, and the neck told me her real age. Because, you know, a woman's neck is like a tree. A woman's neck is like a tree. When you cut open a tree, you know, or the tree falls, and you look at all of the rings in order to try to figure out how old that tree is, that's the same thing with a woman's neck. You can tell a woman's age. Let me count the rings on your neck. Oh, I see how old you are. You're a little seasoned. You got some seasoning on your salmon. Okay, all right. Anyways, let's get into it. I don't want to get too distracted. You know, I can go on these little rants and soliloquies and it go left. I want to stay focused. This woman is a nice looking woman. Just a little seasoning on it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with getting older is a blessing. Getting older is a blessing. Y'all keep acting like it's a bad thing. No, getting older is a blessing. Some people never made it to get that old. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Chicago, Brandon Johnson, illegal undocumented migrants. Let's continue.
Who've been here even longer say they need help too.
We are in solidarity with our long-term migrants.
At the Chicago Urban League headquarters in Bronzeville.
My parents have also been living undocumented for the past 22 years.
A large group of community leaders joined Mayor Brandon Johnson in an effort to secure legal work permits for nearly 500,000 undocumented Chicago residents. Mariana Gutierrez has been undocumented since coming to the U.S. with her parents at...
Oh, see, you always want to distract me. Anton always bashing women. And what part of that rant that I just did you see me bash any woman? As a matter of fact, I celebrated them. I said, listen, it ain't nothing wrong with a little seasoning on that salmon. How did I bash a woman? Because I said that you can tell how old a woman is by their neck. I said that the woman was beautiful. Somebody, don't ban her for life. Somebody teach Faith a lesson. One of the moderators, can you please time Faith out for a little while, please? Let her sit with her thoughts and let her think about what she's saying before she say it. Somebody get Lady Faith some act right, please. Somebody time out Faith. Don't ban her. Don't ban her. Just let her think about her thoughts while she's trying to type in the chat all hard. Faith, you're going to get your life together. Stop being so easily offended. How old is your neck, Faith? All right, let's continue. Always want to get me distracted.
7 months old.
So I'm urging President Biden to use his executive power and grant my parents, and everyone else in our community work permits in order for us to work and have good paying jobs.
That was the message that everyone tried to deliver during this roundtable discussion. Securing work permits for the thousands of migrants who have come to Chicago since 2022 has been a core issue for many in recent months. But the undocumented who have been in Chicago for decades want the same consideration, and the mayor agrees.
We're going to continue to do our part, and as I lead in this moment, to know that there are a company of witnesses all over the country, and quite frankly all over the world, that are hopeful in this moment.
The mayor says he is sending a letter to President Biden to push for these work permits at the federal level, and his administration says support for this effort goes well beyond the city of Chicago.
We are sending it through the Cities for Action Network, and it will go to over 300 cities, asking them to sign on for these work permits.
The mayor says he's already received support for his letter from city leaders in New York, Seattle, Boston, and San Francisco. In Streeterville, Christian.
All of these same liberal spaces and liberal cities. Of course they're going to say it. What did he say? Seattle, Boston. You talking about the same Boston that was holding a bunch of migrants overnight inside of the Boston airport and then getting them out of there in the daytime so that the people in the news wouldn't be able to spot them. You talking about that same Boston? You talking about Seattle where they staging a sit-in at a school playground and all of the tennis courts, saying that y'all better give us housing and hotels before we continue to take over these schools? You talking about that same Seattle? You talking about New York, where Eric Adams is literally running the whole city into the ground? So you got a bunch of cities that's basically sanctuary cities that signed on and said that we want to give undocumented workers the permission to be able to make money inside of the country and send it back to their people when we don't even know where they're from. And they're holding Biden accountable to do that because they said that Biden, we held up our end of the bargain. We held up our end of the bargain, so we want you to do the same thing. Talking about those same people? Interesting.
Far, NBC5 News.
Okay, good morning.
Good afternoon, Island Gal Q. Are y'all tuning in to Monday night? It's going to be lit tonight. It's going to be lit tonight. Island Gal Q. We're going to be on Monday night on the Anton Daniels channel. If y'all not subscribed, in order to be able to get your notifications, make sure you do so. It's going to be popping tonight. And I don't even know who's going to be there.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. I'm just wondering how you're feeling about what the president can do or will do. Because this isn't the first time there's been a call for work permits or to expedite this process. There's a lot on his plate, a lot of criticism on his plate right now. Your thoughts about actually getting this done?
Well, we're encouraged. I'm always going to feel encouraged. Maybe it's because my birth order, I'm a middle child.
Maybe I should just start answering for Brandon Johnson. We're encouraged. And maybe it's because, of my birth order. I'm a middle child, like J. Cole. And Chicago will never leave migrants behind. Under no circumstances will we leave any person behind over in Chicago.
So it's natural, but, look, I'll be very humbly vulnerable, especially as we mark and commemorate the life and legacy of Dr. Gan. The scriptures remind us not to become weary in our well-doing.
Uh-oh.
and that
Did you
our
just support
faith
this
and
with scripture?
our commitment in humanity doesn't end because there's pushback or there's delay. Now, of course, the ideal situation would be for Congress to actually do its part and to pass meaningful, substantive immigration reform transformation, of which the President of the United States is committed to, as well as the Senate. But Donald Trump has put his foot on the necks of Republicans and have told them to block substantive transformation. The last time that this occurred, of course, I mentioned earlier, I was in high school, and before that, the Bears were Super Bowl champions.
Mika and Q. I'm surrounded by some of the most beautiful women on the face of this earth, and they both feisty. They both feisty. Shout out in their own special ways. In their own special ways, but I love them both. I love them both.
So we're encouraged, and we're going to continue to do our part. And as I lead in this moment, to know that there are a company of witnesses all over the country, and quite frankly, all over the world, that are hopeful in this moment. And so the cities that, of course, that we've reached out to, we fully anticipate them to join in this effort as well. And we're going to continue to push the president to support the families that, quite frankly, need it and who are already contributing to society.
Have you looked at is there a workaround? Is there anything the city could do?
I mean, look, we're going to continue to do our part, right? This is an international global crisis, as I indicated, and that it is unprecedented for a local body, a local municipality to hold such a mission. It's unprecedented. So we're going to continue to bring people together and push the federal government to do its part.
Mayor, given the lack of action,
how come he never answer questions that's asked to him? They said, is it a workaround? Is it something that the city could do? He said, blah, 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 blah. He never actually answered the question.
At the federal level, will you be open to the possibility of pushing state legislators in Illinois to push for legislation that will grant work permits in the state to migrants and other immigrants? Is that something that you would support or help?
Well, it's a good question. Look, we've had conversations of sort. There could be an opportunity there, but again, this does not, preclude the federal government from doing what its, authority.
Are you in the local government, especially on the state level, going to work towards pushing to get these people to be able to work inside of the United States of America, and specifically in Illinois and Chicago? Yes or no? We're not talking about the federal government. The question was regarding local politics and on the state level and on the city level. This is not a federal government conversation or question that they asked. Please.
Is allowed to do. So whether or not the state intervenes and pushes for something that could get us, closer towards economic security for families, absolutely, I would be open to that conversation.
You talk a lot about organizing today, and there's a classic phrase: "Power concedes nothing without a demand." You've made this demand a couple times, but the federal government hasn't bought yet. What changes this time? What are you willing to do to add pressure on the federal government to help the city as you wanted to?
Well, the organizing continues to grow. I mean, as what was expressed today. I mean, this is not, just for a particular region. This is a global dynamic, right? And so this is affecting Black, Brown, Asian families around the world.
What about them good white people? Everybody affected. White people, Black people, all people, American people, everybody is being affected. Don't leave out the hood, white folks.
That the European Union.
White people, if y'all voted for Brandon Johnson in the state of Chicago, y'all should be absolutely disgusted from being diversity, equity, and inclusion and out of this answer. If any white person in Chicago is watching this right now, you should be absolutely disgusted after being diversity, equity, and inclusion out of this answer. Y'all affected too?
It took them 5 years to come up with a regional plan to address global population shift. So the difference is that today is a new day. You know, right? I mean, if our ancestors would have taken this model that somehow if you demand something and nothing happens that day, you should stop, we would not have the company that we have today. So thank you for that.
That's right. That's right. Hey, Mayor, thanks so much for doing this Q&A. Can you tell me a little bit more about this letter that you alluded to in your remarks earlier? And can you also speak to whether you talked with Governor Pritzker about this? Where does he stand on this? What could he do as head of the state on this issue?
Well, I mean, look, the letter is pretty straightforward. You know, work authorization is what we need. It's simple. I mean, look, these families are finding ways to stretch ends to make them meet. What we're just simply saying is that people should not have to duck and hide to contribute, you know, to society. We're talking about trillions of dollars of investment as a result of the growth of our population, of which we have room. You know, I know the governor has...
Is that the play? To bring in more migrants so that they can circulate the dollars and generate more revenue from a tax perspective? Are they looking at these people as numbers, or are they looking at these people as individuals? Because he's saying that they're looking at them as individuals, but then they're saying that, listen, this could actually spur economic growth and more money that goes into the coffers of Chicago and the cities that label themselves sanctuary cities by growing the population. So is the goal, or is the finesse, actually get more people into the city and then ultimately make sure that they can contribute into the coffers by allowing for them to be able to work and pay taxes, which then fund more initiatives and put more money inside of the city's coffers? Did he just tell us to play? Rewind that for a second.
Of which we have room as a result of the growth of our population, of which we have room. You know, I know the governor has had some ways to stretch ends to make them meet. What we're just simply saying is that people should not have to duck and hide to contribute, you know, to society. We're talking about trillions of dollars of investment as a result of the growth of our population, of which we have room. You know, I know the governor has had similar pleas. We've had, you know, roundtables like this before. There is commitment and support around the country. And, you know, look, the stories that people express today, you know, a young lady who is, you know, studying and working,
you, Eric.
Not just studying and working and advocating. That is the strength of this moment. And look, I know what my responsibility is as the mayor of the city of Chicago, as a leader for this country. But the real leaders are those who are on the ground, the organizers, the families that are getting up every...
Shut up, man.